Okay, so it's time to ask this age-old question again. Are aliens real? A former Israeli space official says he has proof. He's claiming that there is a, quote, galactic federation stop it, Al, running an underground Mars base with the U.S. in a secret pact. He went on to say that the aliens will not reveal themselves until humanity can reach a point where they fully understand space, spaceships, this form.
Bro, you see how I'm always like saying why don't we believe like you see how we're always talking about aliens, are they real or not? Like I feel like there's plenty of evidence out there. I feel like we could actually like do something with it. I feel like we could expose the truth if we just like maybe we could do a podcast or something. Like a podcast, like everyone's doing one these days, so a podcast about like are aliens real or not? And maybe we could get on like experts and stuff. So I don't know, man. I think it's a great idea. So what do you think about it? I mean, like, yeah, like everyone's doing podcasts these days, but I mean, is it really gonna hurt us if we start? Like, I think we should just go for it, man. Like, who else is talking about if aliens are real or not? Bro, like, this is untouched. This is untouched area. This is a niche that we could exploit. Yeah, yeah, I know that no one's gonna like take us seriously, but aliens, bro, aliens. What's up? What's up? It's MIVisuals back here with another video. I'm a graphic designer and podcaster for over 3.5 years. I've run a few different podcasts, and now I'm running currently the Bluprint pod, which is about what we kind of talk about here on this channel, but a bit more long form. We also talk about different topics, things like in the last episode we talked about how to find inspiration, and we also played a little word game where we got some like words from all our followers, like people that follow us, and then we kind of put them all together and made it into a little game, and that was really interesting. So I might put in a little clip, but yeah, go check that out. For now, let's talk about how to start a podcast. Okay, so starting a podcast. First of all, like forget the mic, forget the everything, forget the light, forget whatever you want to do, whether it's video or audio only. Think about your topics. What do you want to talk about? Like the first podcast I started was called the Inspire Reads podcast. It was about reading books and then kind of reviewing them and talking about the themes and like just doing little challenges like that, and then coming together as a group and kind of doing that on a weekly basis. And I did that for like over 2.5 years probably, where we were running a podcast every single week, reading a book every single week, and that was it was a very like interesting experience, and I really enjoyed that. So then I also joined. We started doing another podcast called the Paper Trails podcast, and that was more of like a more general kind of thing. But yeah, for now, what I've started is the Bluprint pod, which I've briefly talked about. And yeah, for me, like you need to find a topic. For like the Bluprint, I found like inspiration and different things like creative education is kind of like the way we want to go about it, but also like just general life advice and stuff, and like speaking to different experts in their fields and getting their tidbits and getting some of their experiences and stories, you know. And with the other podcast that I originally started called the Inspire Reads podcast, it was about reading books every single week, and that was something we could always draw back on. So whether you want to talk about aliens or not, you have to find a way to find material consistently, and that's not as easy as it looks. And that's why I feel like a lot of podcasts die off. So you need to find a way to like find a topic. What are you passionate about? What do you want to talk about? Why do you want to start a podcast in the first place? Is it just to get your voice heard? Is it because a lot of people are doing it? Is it because it just looks like an interesting medium? First you want to understand why. And I think there's a lot of benefits to it as well. Like for example, like my conversational skills since I started the podcast have improved like dramatically. And like you can imagine that in like job interviews and stuff, it's very useful to have those kind of skills. So yeah, why and the theme. You need to find a theme and understand why you want to do it. Yeah. Number two, yes, you do need a microphone of some kind or another. You can always use your mobile phone. You can always use a mobile phone. A lot of people started up. A good friend of mine, Zoo, who's He's got quite a popular podcast called The Book of Zoo. Go check that out. He's got a podcast that he started all on his phone, and then he kind of expanded on it. It's like literally most newest smartphones have good microphones. So yeah, go check that out. Just use your phone, and you can kind of adjust it as you go. But yeah, like over the years, I've built up a collection of microphones. I might show them, I might not. But as you like get more and more into it, like you might want to expand on your thing. So I think like a good starter microphone for a lot of people would be the Blue Yeti. So you can kind of record on that by yourself, or you can record that in a little group. I'll even show a little picture of where we used to record back in the day in like a tiny little cafe. And we were literally like sitting like this together, like recording, and that's like a podcast that hit over 40,000 listens, and it was really interesting to do. But yeah, you need a microphone. So I think a good starter microphone is a Blue Yeti. If you have a bit of money to invest, that can cost you around £100 or £90, something like that. And then later on down the line, you can get more and more into it. But for now, I'd say start with your phone. Just start simple. Just start, because if you like keep on thinking about equipment and things like that, you're never gonna start, and you're always gonna wonder why like you haven't progressed and why you haven't kind of like reached your goals. So yeah. Next thing I would say is you definitely need audio software. On Macs, for example, you can get GarageBand, or you can use a paid one like Adobe Audition, which is what I currently use, or you can use a free one. For example, on Windows and Mac, you can download Audacity. I'll show some screenshots and some video of that. That's a free software. You can edit everything. You can make it sound good. You can make it sound clean. There's thousands of tutorials about it. So yeah, download some kind of audio software. And then the next step after you've done that is learning how to edit and just cut up the little ums and little like the little tongue clicks when you're speaking with your like that. So you want to kind of edit those kind of things out in the beginning when you're not really comfortable. But as you get better and better, you won't find yourself as uncomfortable when you're doing that. So don't worry about that too much. But yeah. Last thing is, like, after you've edited your podcast, how do you publish it? I created a podcast cover art tutorial before. In this one, like, how do you publish it? So I use previously I used SoundCloud to host the podcast, so you can just upload to SoundCloud. But after like 5 hours of podcasting, you have to pay, and a lot of people don't want that, so it's a bit of a hassle. You pay like £10 a month or something like that, and then yeah, you get to host your podcast, and then through that you kind of like have to manually get your SoundCloud RSS feed. It's called an RSS feed, so it's a link that your podcast is. It's unique to your podcast, and yeah, you have to get that link, and then you have to go to Apple, and you have to ask them to put it on their platform, and then you have to go to Spotify and put it over there, and everywhere else you want to put it. And that before was a bit of a hassle, I can't lie, especially when you start it up. It's like, how do I get it on all these platforms? But now I use Anchor. Anchor's like a free software as well, so you can use it on your phone, you can use it on the Mac or PC, whatever you're using, and you can actually edit live in the app, or you can edit, or you can like record, like you can get like listener voicemails, and they can send you voicemails, and it goes directly into your Anchor account. So it sounds like it's like a really cool tool, but in the start you might have some teething problems with it, where like, because what it does is you upload your podcast on there, and it just goes to all the different places: Apple, SoundCloud, Spotify, all these different places, Google Podcasts, and then it puts them up on there by itself. And then yeah, through that, like, your podcasts get published, and all you have to do is just literally upload it to Anchor. Whereas before, I was using SoundCloud, for example, and then I have to publish it everywhere else, and that's really long. So I suggest using Anchor to start with. It's very uncomplicated and it's free. And then you can also think about sponsorships later on down the line. But yeah, back to Anchor. With Anchor, like in the beginning, I had a few problems where I uploaded the podcast, but it took a while to get onto the different platforms. So don't worry about that if you do upload it onto Anchor. Like, just give it a bit of time, and then after a week or two, like, it will be on all the different platforms you want. So I'd suggest maybe release a trailer of the podcast and then upload it to Anchor, for example, and then like it will start distributing to all the different platforms. So then when your actual first episode is ready, you can just go on Anchor, publish the first episode, and then it just automatically goes up everywhere. That's what I would suggest doing, because what I did was I published the actual first episode on Anchor, and then it took like a week and a half for Apple to publish it on their platform, and blah, blah, blah. So maybe publish a little trailer clip and then go from there. And then since then, it's like every week the podcast is up there. I don't have to like wait for it to upload. Like, I'll schedule it I'll edit it by Sunday, and then I'll edit it, and I'll post it. And on Anchor, you can schedule it, so the post will be up and it will be ready for whatever time you schedule it. So our podcast is always up on Mondays at 4 a.m. So when people get up in the mornings on Mondays and they go for their work commutes or they go to school, they can listen to the podcast on their travels, and it's right there ready for them. So yeah, that's pretty much it. How to start a podcast. I hope that made sense to you. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments, and I'll be sure to answer them all and try and help you out with that. Also, reach out to me on social media if you want, and I'm always there available. So yeah, MIVisuals back here with another video for the Bluprint pod. In the next episode, I might be releasing, in the next episode, I'll be releasing collaboration, the first collaboration video I did with a good friend, a photographer friend of mine called Hey Shahid, and I also had my good friend Shamaki as the model and my good friend Yasin's View as the cameraman, where we did like an amateur versus pro photographer challenge, where I was the amateur photographer and my friend Shahid was the pro photographer, and like we did an interesting challenge where we went to like 4 different locations, and then we like had 1 minute to shoot the model in like interesting ways. So that was really cool. So keep an eye out for that in the next video, and I'll catch you next week.